match, 134 pounds.
Yeah, these two guys have really done a lot to help each other. They work out a lot together, and I think they're each other's best supporters throughout the season.
So at 134 to be Jim Gibbons of Iowa State, a senior out of Ames, against Clar Anderson of Oklahoma State, who is a sophomore from New York. And these two should go at it. Gibbons comes into this particular match with a 22-2 record, and Anderson has a 16-4-1 record.
Both these wrestlers are national champions, Wayne. Of course, Gibbons was a 1981, not national champions, but all of
seem to have their game caps on tonight because they are really wrestling well.
So I was saying earlier, both these guys were All-Americans last year, and Gibbons did win that national title. Just had an outstanding tournament. And I thought yesterday, the way he looked in the semifinals is probably the best he's wrestled this month. I think he's just getting to the point now where he's peaking this season, getting some momentum going, becoming very intense.
Well, you can see both of these wrestlers are intense. This match, they're really kind of psyched up for it. They're clawing at each other and very intense.
Evidently, Jim Gibbons there in the red uniform must have twisted his knee yesterday. I didn't notice him wearing any wrap on the leg, and today he is out there with a little bit of bandage.
A little bit of support.
Gibbons normally will work best on his feet going into the legs of an opponent, using a high crotch move for a takedown or else a single leg. I think you'll see him try to do the same thing today with Anderson. Earlier in the year, the two guys wrestled, and Gibbons beat Anderson 4-2 in a dual meet.
Well, they'll bring him back to the center of the mat. Started over again. Down to 155 to go in the first period. Just underway in the 134-pound weight division. Jim Gibbons of Iowa State, Clar Anderson of Oklahoma State.
Anderson was probably the one surprise advancer to the finals yesterday. He beat Derek Glenn of Oklahoma, and Glenn had been ranked 7th nationally, but he was able to catch Glenn in a pair of underhooks, and he pinned him with just 5 seconds left in that match, and at the time Anderson was trailing 5-3. So I think that was a bit of a surprise for most people. Gibbons advanced by beating Bill Porter from Missouri 11-2, and he really just put on a technique clinic yesterday. He used a lot of different moves. Everything seemed to work for him.
Minute 5 to go in the first period. No score yet. Gibbons and Anderson just kind of working each other over.
Gibbons hasn't quite got into the groove for him yet. And there's a stalling on the Oklahoma State wrestler, Anderson. It looked to the official as though Anderson was backing up, was not being aggressive enough trying to score, and they've cautioned him for stalling.
Of course, Gibbons this year at 134 pounds is ranked 2nd in the country.
He's had a pretty good year. He really has wrestled most of the top guys in that weight, and he's been able to tie a couple of them, and with only 2 losses in that number of matches, I think you could say he's had a pretty outstanding year up to this point.
He certainly has. Only 2 losses in 24 matches.
And there's a caution on Gibbons for stalling, so both wrestlers have been warned. The next warning will result in a point for one of them.
Well, they're both being cautious, and obviously you don't want to be too cautious because 1 point could possibly win this match. Down to 10 seconds to go in the first period.
The fact that they went 4-2 in the dual meet when they met earlier last month is indicative of the type of match we're going to see here today, I think. They were very careful in that match about mistakes. Neither wrestler wants to overcommit himself and be in a position where the opponent can counter and score just because of a mistake.
1 second, that's it, left in the first period, and we go to the second period, which will be 2 minutes in duration.
The 126-pound medalist, please, to the awards podium.
I think Anderson has elected to take the down position. Yeah, start the second period. Anderson tries to stand up, break the hands free for an escape. Gibbons has got his hands locked up on him pretty well, trying to pick him up and drop him back to the mat.
Outside, man. Register down.
point, still down.
Getting both wrestlers set. Gibbons is still on top. Once again, Anderson went to that stand-up, and Gibbons has a hands lock, trying to pick him up and bring him back to the mat.
Still, nobody has scored a point yet.
Gibbons will have to deliver the wrestler to the mat again. If they're on their feet for very long in that position, he would be cautioned for stalling. Anderson once again has to work out of the bottom position. Now Gibbons has got a tight waist in there, reaching through with a half Nelson. And he's trying to block the leg off also to get Anderson broken down to the mat. There he goes with a half Nelson again. Anderson kept near the edge there, which enabled him to get out of danger when Gibbons was able to put the half Nelson in.
Well, these two wrestlers, even Steven, nobody's really been able to do anything. Of course, Gibbons is working on some riding time now. He's up to about 54 or 55 seconds, and he's working on that. He'll get it up over a minute here, which would be worth a point if nobody scored at the end, and could make a difference in this one. But right now, nobody's been able to score any points the other way.
Gibbons working back in that same situation, trying to go with the power half that time. Still has had not much luck breaking Anderson down.
Well, it's a standoff offensively and defensively. Gibbons on top and Anderson working from the bottom, but Anderson hasn't been able to escape, and really, Gibbons hasn't been able to take him down. So 45 seconds to go in the second period of this match, and we still have no score.
He's gone with a half in there again, and he's got the leg blocked. Anderson tried to turn into him, but there wasn't anything there.
Gibbons now, he's got that riding time up over a minute 30.
Well, I think they've gone off the mat about 7 times now in this second period.
Well, it's back and forth. It's the same old record. Back to the middle. Anderson down. Gibbons on top.
And Gibbons almost lost at that time. Anderson rolled. Gibbons grabbed the legs and able to maintain control there. Out of bounds again.
They get outside again. And not a point was scored.
Fairly good roll there by Anderson, but Gibbons countered and reacted well, got to the legs and maintained that top position. Back to the center. Anderson tried to stand up that time.
Little different strategy, trying to get out of there. And what do we got? 1 point.
1 point there. We had stalling on Gibbons that time. The second warning results in a point for Anderson.
So Anderson's got a 1-point lead right now, 1-0. But remember, Gibbons still has a riding time of 1:52. And if that holds up at the end, he would get a point. So we're still almost kind of in a dead even type match.
Anderson tried to stand up again and got out. He got the escape with 1 second left.
So the second period comes to a close.
That may be critical at that point, enabling him to get a 2-point lead, although Gibbons, like you say, Wayne, does have the riding time.
But with that 2-point lead now for Anderson, the riding time, it's still up at 1:59 in favor of Gibbons. Doesn't seem quite as critical as it did just a moment ago.
The Iowa State coaches were a little concerned about that stalling call on Gibbons. They didn't feel that that was legitimate, but he was riding Anderson that entire period and was not able to break him down. Probably a good call by the official in that case.
And of course now Anderson is working on top.
Potentially dangerous hold there.
Yes,
The official broke it.
And you can see that Gibbons are not happy about it, and the Iowa State coaches aren't very happy about it.
Harold Nichols came out to the mat. Said something to the official, but he's gone back to the side now.
Well, the official told him to get back where he belonged. But he was not happy about that potentially dangerous hold by Anderson at all.
Anderson's in control here. Gibbons tried to roll through, and
well, Anderson's now working back on that riding time, and that, if he can get it back under a minute, really would help him with a point. It's down to 137.
This would be quite an upset, I think, for Anderson to win here today, considering he hasn't been ranked this year. And Gibbons is the defending national champion.
And he's ranked number 2 right now in the country. Anderson.
There's an escape for Gibbons. So we'll have a 2-to-1 match.
2-to-1. Anderson still with the lead. They go out and they'll come back. But the riding time is still in favor of Jim Gibbons. Down to 1:18 to go in the match. 134 pounds, the finals of the Big 8 Wrestling Championship for 1982.
Both men are tying up again. Gibbons worked a trip. Oh, beautiful takedown for Gibbons. That'll put him on top.
Gibbons 3-2 plus the riding time.
That was a very, very well executed move for Jim. Caught Anderson off balance, used the trip to bring him to the mat, maintain control, and go back to start in the center. Another escape there for Anderson. He got a stand-up, turned into Gibbons, and got himself free.
Well, we're deadlocked at 3-3 with 45 to go. But Gibbons still has a 133 riding advantage. Anderson is either going to have to score a point or work on that riding time if he hopes to win this one.
Anderson's working very hard there, and Gibbons has countered well with everything Anderson has tried on his feet.
29 seconds to go.
You see Tom Chesbrough over there in the corner of the mat, coach from Oklahoma State. Anderson tried to get in there on a single leg, and Gibbons was able to fight that off.
Still 3-3, but a minute 33 riding time in favor of Gibbons. That would give him a 4-3 victory if no other points are scored. And Iowa State would add 3 more points to their team total.
Mike, keep in mind here, Gibbons has been cautioned for stalling twice.
So he's got to go on the aggression, because if he gets called for that point, it'll negate. That's it. The match is over. And Gibbons is going to be the winner. He gets an extra point for the riding time, which is 133, and he'll win it by a score of 4-3.
Well, they have another close match there, and decided on riding time, as we talked about before the meet started this afternoon. It's a critical factor in a lot of these matches because the wrestlers are so good and they're so close in ability.
That, of course, gives Iowa State 3 more team points. They are now up to 80.
That has to be very rewarding for Jim Gibbons.